Hi, I'm Orla.
And I'm Leanne.
And we are
AsIAm.
So this week we're joined by Ciara Jones. I'm not going to say anything about Ciara because I want Ciara to do all the talking. So, Ciara, can you introduce yourself?
I can indeed. So I am Ciara Jones. I am 50 years old since last week.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
I am the mother of, I always say, 3.5 children. So I have a stepson, Michael. Gavin is my next. Gavin is 16. Dara is 12 and Orla is 11. Gavin is autistic. So I suppose that's really where I am at the moment in life. In terms of autism advocacy, it's where I spend most of my time physically and emotionally in that space. Gavin he has an intellectual disability. He's preverbal, so while he has words, he wouldn't have, like, say, sentences or being able to communicate. But he can communicate. Yeah, so that's who I am now at the moment, a mammy to 3 children, full-time carer to Gavin. Gave up my career back in 2018 to care for Gavin full-time.
Very good. So will you tell us about who you were before you were a mammy? Who you were as a little girl, who you were when you were growing up, where you grew up and what life was like for you. I suppose that's led you to the path, because the path where you are now, because there's been lots of changes across your lifetime that have influenced you, but the person who you are, the core of who you are, the heart of who you are. There's other mammies out there that have children who have autism and are kind of rolling with it, but you're a fighter and you're a firecracker when it comes to advocacy and making sure that the children are represented, not just your own but other children out there. But you don't just become that person overnight, and some people do due to struggle, but there's something about your heart and your growing up and your upbringing that influences the person that you are today. So can you tell us a little bit about young Ciara?
Yeah, young Ciara, I had a very happy childhood, a very happy upbringing. I had a great mum and dad. Dad was a grafter.
Great.
Morning, noon and night. Holy Communion was on my own with my ma because he had to work overtime. He'd see you after at the church. That was the way it was. You couldn't miss the overtime. Grew up in Cabra.
Very nice.
Still holds a very dear place in my heart. I love it. I'm back there often. Gavin likes to be driven around like a lord every night, so we head back down towards Cabra, go past my mum's door all the time, still have lots of friends there. The happiest of memories, out playing on the road morning, noon and night with all of my friends who are still my friends today.
Brilliant.
All of my friends. I went to school in Cabra. I still have all my primary school friends. My mum was amazing, strong, and just the most wonderful mother you could ever wish for. She did a bit of work at home. She actually started her own career in Cal's printers in East Wall. All her family were printers and my father was a printer. She had my 2 brothers and my sister, and then she had a stillborn baby. Okay. And back then it was never spoken about. Like literally, like after she had the baby, she never spoke about it. So she had me very late. I was born at home in the bed I slept in for years. 11.5 pounds.
Wow.
Big baby.
Big baby. No bother to her. And that was it. Until she took her last breath, we were never apart.
Oh, that's lovely to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never. She was absolutely everything you could wish for in a mother, a best friend. She was really strong and resilient. You know, she had cancer twice. She had ovarian cancer when I was a young girl in 6th class, and then she got breast cancer later on at 69. So I was with her for all that, and she used to just say to me, look, I just need to put it to the back of my head and it'll be all right. And that's how she survived all through her life. Yeah. But even now, when I think, like, I remember she used to say, geez, don't be leaving your jackets on the back of them couches. And even now, to this day, I can't bear a jacket on the back of a couch. Yeah. I do everything like she done. Do you know what I mean? Everything. Even when she died, I was like, oh, just I have 2 of the same ironing boards. All the dishes were the same. Everything, tea towels were the same, you know. She was amazing. And my dad was great. He was a grafter, a worker. He was a great provider. We wanted for nothing, like nothing. He was very clever. He was self-educated, well-read. Yeah, amazingly strong as well. Just a really, really, really good dad.
And as you talk, you can hear that that's where you get your resilience and your strength from. Mm-hmm. And you've lived in parallel with that across your young life as your mum had her sufferings with cancer and didn't speak of them, but the strength that she would have shown and the resilience that she would have shown, it's very evident.
Like that anymore, sure they don't.
We're like that.
No, I know, but you know, like good, strong Dublin Irish women.
Yeah,
well,
she was everything.
They made different.
Yeah. When we have those good, strong Dublin Irish women, they're also people who kept secrets for people for years, and like I think we show our emotions in a very different context now to how we did before. So if somebody has ovarian cancer now, like my mum would have had her womb removed when I was only young, not long after she had my younger brother Paul, and all of the women in her family would have due to the cancer there. But like, there was no emotion, so there was no showing your emotion. So I wonder, were people strong, or were they just not able to show their emotions?
And yet she was so soft, like she was so lovely. You know, so especially to me now, I was like everything to her, you know. And she was so funny, like. She was actually quite a shy person, quite a private person. Like, we wouldn't have grown up with neighbours in the house now or anything. She'd go in next door to do Mona's colour every now and then, you know. But that'd be it. Or if it was raining now, everyone got roared at, you know. Or where the Christmas puddings were made, like everyone up the block and down the block, they'd be swapping the slices to taste the different ones and whose pudding cloths were the whiter than the other. And, you know, all the curtains got steeped and, you know, so it was all of that. And it was, she was really, really, really dry and funny. She was great crack.
And you talk about her with a great smile on your face and a great light in your eyes.
Yeah,
so
she was everything. Even today, I do always say I'll rear my kids exactly how she reared me. You know,
brilliant.
Yeah. She was great. She was a real character. I remember when she got the cancer at 69. I remember ringing my husband saying, "Bring me clothes down." I was in work. The phone rang and she said, "Jesus, Ciara, I'm only home." She went into my mother-in-law on the way home, was also from Cabra, for a cup of tea and a cake. And she said, there's 5 messages on that phone. She said, "I have to go back to the hospital." I said, "I'll come with you." So I left work, grabbed her, went back, and they went, "Look, it's cancer." You know, she'd only had a mammogram earlier on that day. And I remember ringing Mick on, "Bring down my clothes, I'm not coming home. Bring down my clothes, I'm staying with her now for a while." I was due to fly out to Russia in the next couple of weeks after that. I remember being there with my mum. She said, "You go on home." I said, "No, I'm not going home. I'm going to stay with you now till I go away."
Yeah.
And I said, "I mightn't go away, Mum." And she goes, "No, you will go away. Let the others look after me. You've done your turn." You know?
Yeah.
So I remember that night we were sitting there anyway, and she was having a little cry, and she said to me, "Now I'm going to cry tonight, and after that there'll be no more crying." And I was like, "Go on, yeah, let it all out." So we had tea. I said, "I'll sleep with you." And so I slept in the bed with her. And I don't already remember, all those corner sinks were out at the time. So we had a new kitchen, but there was a corner sink.
Oh, yeah.
You know, corner sink. And she'd always say to you, not that they'd hurt you, but they thought if they'd say something hurtful, it'd make you think, you know. Because if I'd say, "Get me a haircut," she'd say, "I don't."
Yeah.
That'll be the end, you know.
That'll be. I don't know if it'll suit you.
No, don't do that now. You'll ruin yourself. You know.
Yeah.
And she used to and she'd give you your dinner. She said, "No, there's an awful lot on that plate, Ciara, so don't finish it. Sure you won't." I said, "Oh, jeez, I haven't even started, you know." And so, if you can just put it in context, she was after being diagnosed with breast cancer. I was at the sleep in the night. I got up the next morning to go to work because I worked really, really close, and I was at the corner filling the kettle, and she came down and she said, "Oh, Jesus Christ almighty." And I said, "Oh God, what's wrong with you? Are you all right?" She said, "You know what I'm going to tell you now, Ciara?" I said, "What? What's wrong with you?" She said, "Your arse is the width of both of them presses." I said, "What?" So that's why she survived, because she was more worried about the width of my ass than she was about her breast cancer. So, and that's how she got through life. And I was like, "Okay, you know, I promise you want to do something about that." You know, so you know, she was a real character, like even in the depths of her despair. You know.
Can I just ask you? You said you were going to Russia.
Yeah,
what
so
was
like
in Russia?
I worked out in Russia in an orphanage. I went out there to do voluntary work, just to work with the children, mind them, care for them. Yeah, it was an amazing experience. I was at my desk one day, I was reading a book, and it was dedicated to Debbie Deegan. She was the founder of To Russia With Love, and she just had in the book, "Look, if anyone wants to go, if anyone would like to be a volunteer, get in touch." I had no children at the time. I had lost 10 babies before Gavin came, and I still had no babies. And I thought, you know, I'm going to do that. So I made contact, did a bit of fundraising, and I went to Russia. The first stint I did, it was 13 weeks. It was unbelievable. Back in 2004, very different even to now, what Russia is. Very bleak. The orphanage was very bleak, it was very sad, but I got stuck in right away. Still to this day, the most incredible friends. The children I brought to school are married now with their own children. Debbie was a huge inspiration for me, and then she said to me, you know, Ciara, we're going to build a new girls' block for the girls to live. So I'd fly out on a Friday, shop in Moscow in IKEA, load up the lorries, and they'd go back to the orphanage and I'd come back and go to work. And then I went out to do up actually take it kind of, suppose, from a building site, do all the interior, you know, that goes there, this goes there, come on, get all the duvets we bought in IKEA and we'll dress all your beds for you. So it was kind of take out, peeling the plastic off the windowsills, washing them at night, washing the floors, everything, till we got to the stage where it was actually open. And then after that, then I suppose my role changed again. Then other things changed over there. You weren't allowed to stay in the orphanage anymore. You had to stay in an apartment in Beijing.
Okay.
So any volunteers that were going out, I'd go out with them, settle them for a couple of times, and then come back myself. Yeah, so it was just an amazing experience. It was incredible.
And as a young woman of 28 years old at that time, having had 10 losses, that's a remarkable thing. It's a remarkable act of kindness and love.
I think at one stage I was actually, before I went, I knew I needed bloods done because I was always trying to have a baby. Always. I just needed to get that baby. So every time, it was, to me, like everything else in my life, one down, let's go again, one down, let's go again. And just that I wanted that baby and I was going to get that baby. And I got that baby and it was Gavin. So I think it was just an unbelievably difficult birth. It was horrific. And I suppose, you know, it was only when I look back then later on, when you're in the throes of labour, you're really not important to anybody because everyone just wants the baby. And everyone needed this baby to come out and I couldn't deliver this baby. And you're forgotten in it all. And I remember when Gavin was born, they gave him to my husband. And before I knew it, I was in a bit of trouble and they were helping me. And then I was back in theatre. And I remember lying there going, where is the baby? Because I didn't feel this connection. And I was panicking and I wanted to get him to feel, had I got that connection? And after a while, I brought him home, whatever, and then my ma was just diagnosed with Alzheimer's, dementia. So, you know yourself, when you have a baby, all you want is your mother. And I really wanted my ma. And sure, my poor husband was out driving the roads looking for her. I was trying to manage Gavin. I didn't know he was autistic. I didn't understand why he was crying. And I was actually quite ill myself mentally, and I didn't know. And anyway, I knew something was amiss with Gav, for want of a better word. I just knew there was something maybe not quite right. And I went to the health nurse and I was chatting away. And she says to me, actually, do you know what, Ciara? She says, I'm going to look after Gavin another day. Gavin will be all right. I promise you, we look after Gavin. But she said, today, Ciara, I need to look after you. She said, I know by the way you're talking. She says, we're in a little bit of trouble. She said, tell me a little bit. So I told her all about the birth and how angry I was that nobody really, I only wanted my mum, you know, and I was angry. I just felt that I was just this vessel to get the baby, and I was in so much pain and it was horrendous. She said to me, she said, like, we're really looking at, you know, post-traumatic shock, you know. It was horrendous. You know, the way waiting all your time for the babies, 10 years of losing babies. I'm going to have this pram and this school bag. So in the hospital, I had the school bag, the school picked. I was going to call him this, I was going to call him that. I was going to get, and then my mum came in. She says, what's the name? I said, Gavin. No way. She said, not at all, Ciara. That's shocking. I said, no, mum. I said, no, we'll talk about it later, but it won't be Gavin. I was like, ma, give it over.
It's a lot to take on board as a young woman, though, isn't it?
Yeah. And the day he was diagnosed, you know the way they have lucid moments?
Yeah.
And I was at the telling my mum what was happening because I told her everything. But somewhere in our lucid moment, she found a way to dial my number off her mobile and she'd forgotten to do that. Now, she used to dial them, but she wouldn't dial the right number. I know why she was dialing it. And I remember I picked up the phone. She said to me, what's wrong, Ciara? I was like, what? And she's like, what's wrong? I said, oh, Mum, he is autistic. The psychologist have to be in here. He is autistic. I was sobbing my heart out, you know. And when I think of it, like she found a way to ring me that day. It's gas, you know. And then after that, she mightn't have been able to use the phone for weeks, you know, or ever again. I can't even remember.
Can I ask you about that time? What did that feel like for the diagnosis? Because you'd had 10 losses, and I suppose I'm wondering, did it feel like you were like, here's this perfect little package now, and this feels like a loss? The pregnancy felt like a loss. It's a lot of grief and loss.
And you know, I would have said I was so desperate for a baby. I remember thinking, nothing matters. I just want a baby. Yeah. It doesn't matter if anything is wrong. And I remember thinking, well, I had an aunt and a cousin with additional needs, so I'd be well able. Yeah. But with Mick, I'd be worried about. Yeah. Sure, Mick accepted it immediately, and I literally nearly lost my mind. I couldn't believe it. I had waited so long for him, and then he came, and he was autistic. And the only way I could explain it to you was, it was like someone came in, took him from me, hit the reset button, and gave him back to me. Okay. Nothing was certain anymore. Would he talk? Would he go to school? Would he have friends? Would I ever hear him say, I love you? Would he know I loved him? Nothing. You're on your own. It is the loneliest place you could ever be. Yeah. And back then, 16 years ago, it's even lonelier. It was lonelier then than it is now. There's a lot more support. There's a lot more understanding, acceptance. I don't really use the word awareness. We're all aware. Yeah. It's all about acceptance. We need to, you know, we've taken it up a notch since that. But I remember even, I was just so absolutely, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And I couldn't accept it. And I genuinely, definitely believe I did have a nervous breakdown. And then, when someone offers you a help or a lifeline during those desperate times, I don't know, in me, I just always want to give back. Always. I'm always giving back. So I thought, Jeannie Mac, I got him a school place. I'll do a little bit of fundraising for them. So I did a fundraiser for them, and I founded this big fun day for them. So that was kind of creating this sense of belonging for me. Kind of a new community was coming in around me. Things were looking a little bit brighter. I kept believing, you know. And then my mother-in-law, she used to mind Gavin for me with my sister-in-law's little boy. And when I'd go in from work, I'd say, hey, Gav. And he wouldn't even look around me. I'd say, hey, Aaron. And he'd say hello to me. And Aaron was 4 months younger than him, you know.
How old was Gavin when he was diagnosed?
I brought him at 18 months. Because I said to my mother-in-law, I think I'll get Gavin checked. And she said to me,
what made you do that?
Like, because Aaron was saying hello to me and Gavin wasn't.
Right, okay.
And there was no eye contact, right. You know. I kind of, you know, in your gut, you know. And I think when my mother-in-law said to me, yeah, I knew. Yeah. Because, you know, they'd say to go away out of that. Yeah. Not at all, but yeah, if you think so, Ciara. Yeah. And then, so then I suppose he had a school place, and then we had to fight for a primary school place, and my husband minded him. And then when my mum ended up in hospital, I started panicking. I was saying, oh my God, who's going to mind Gav if anything happens to me? Of course, Michael is there, but Michael is 18 when Gavin was born. I was like, oh, Jeannie Mac, who's going to mind Gavin? Who's going to mind us? I start panicking. And I said to Mick, I have to have another baby. And he was like, oh, Jesus, Ciara, hang on a minute. I was like, no, we'll have to have another baby. And I was in work, and he rang me. He said, you're not going to believe it. He said, but you know that show, The Doctors, it's on RTE. And the doctor on there is after saying, for any woman out there that's having a recurring miscarriage, all they need is Agnes cactus tablets from the chaseberry tree and a bit of raspberry drops from the health store under the tongue to close the uterus. I was like, really? Yeah, so up the health shop I went, lashed the tablets in.
As you do.
Yeah, because I had gone through the fertility. He is not an IVF baby, Gavin, but I had gone to the fertility clinic in Galway. It was another route, and and no bother. Orla and Dara, me €10 babies. They're Irish twins.
Me €10 babies.
That's all it was for the chaseberry tablets.
Amazing.
And he came in August in 2013, and he was the best baby. And I goes, quick, Mick, we'll have another one real quick, because then I'll have more help for Gavin. And then Dara will have another baby to help him, and then Michael will have help, and then Gavin will be supported, and we'll be all right. And then, of course, we had Orla. And that was like, when she was born, I don't know who said it when she was born, but they said a little boy, and Mick goes, it's a boy, Ciara. I was like, oh, lovely, great. And Denise just said, sorry, could we bring the baby back to Mum for a minute there? And she came back and said, it's a girl. I went, oh, jeez, it's a girl.
Congratulations.
And she said, God, we thought you were happy with a boy. I said, no, I was, but I'm delighted it's a girl, you know. So, yeah, then we had Orla and Dara. But still, you know, the autism, it's just so difficult because it's such a lonely place. Yeah. And I feel no matter what you're doing in life, when you feel lonely, it's debilitating.
Yes.
And when we feel supported, we can do wonderful things for ourselves and with each other. And slowly, when I look back at it now, Gavin is such a special human being. He has us doing exactly what we need to be doing at the right time for him, for his community. And the fundraising took off. I fundraised a lot of money for his primary school. They needed a third autism class. It wasn't sanctioned by the department, so I got stuck in. We raised over 50 grand at that stage. We were up to doing the primary school. So I was kind of getting involved in all of that, and kind of that was growing. It was kind of giving me a sense of purpose.
Full-time?
Full-time, yeah. I worked in Aer at the time. Okay. Thanks to my dad. I was in college and he rang me sister, I think, at the time, and he said, tell that young one to apply for that job. That's a pensionable job. And I was only delighted. So I applied for it and got it, and I had 20 fabulous years in Aer and worked my way up. And it was a fantastic.
They must have been like family to you, were they? The people in Aer?
Yeah, look, I loved every minute of it. I had a really great experience. I'd made great friends who are still my friends today. Yeah. Great opportunities, and they were very understanding. And you know, I created, so in there on World Autism Month, so what I did was I created lots of inclusive activities around that time. But one of the things we did was we did a talk, and Adam Harris from AsIAm came in, and he would give a talk and I would talk from parental perspective, and slowly but surely employees start coming in, and next of all I had like 5 or 6 people on my floor who had an autistic child and someone on the other floor. So we grew a community within the workplace, like it were kind of mutual understanding and acceptance, and you know, so that grew in there, and that was wonderful. And then in 2018, like Mick was trying to work a taxi. He had a 6-year-old autistic child, a 5-year-old autistic child and junior infants. He had a 1-year-old, and he had a newborn baby. Yes. So then he had 1 in creche, 1 in primary, newborn baby. Then he had 2 in creche, 1 in primary. Yeah. And then he was doing all of that, and something had to give. And the opportunity came up to leave Aer. It was life-changing, and I took it and became Gavin's full-time carer. I never thought I wouldn't be behind a desk till I was 60. But, and then so myself and Michael came in, and he said to me, he was running the Dublin City Marathons at the time. So Michael is my stepson. I went to school with Mick's sister, and we used to walk home together, and I remember she'd be talking about her nephew being born and how lovely he was and the excitement of a new baby. And I don't know when, but I was in my school uniform looking in at him in the buggy with his own gorgeous mammy. I never thought 33 years later he would be my stepson. Yeah. You know, he's 35 this year, and I've been absolutely blessed to have him part of my life for the last 33 years. So we have a common interest, which is advocacy. Michael, degree in history, politics and international relations. I went back and did a master's in economic science and law reform. So he was kind of hard to get a job. Yeah. You know, Mick used to say, Jace, could you not just done a degree, just one degree and got a job? But actually, he went to work for ISME.
Okay.
It was amazing, and a girl sat down beside him, and her name was Ciara Jones, and he goes, oh, you know, myself and my stepman, we do fundraising for AsIAm. A new guy who worked there, Jones, said, yeah, that's my dad. Adam was one of my best friends. Oh. And they grew an amazing friendship, and then a post came up in AsIAM. I said, Michael, go for it, we'll do the presentation, we'll get you. And he was like, oh, I was a community officer. And, he went in, and sure, the community officer, he got the job, worked in there, and now, I mean, he grew the entire community
amazing
team,
well done to him.
And created the new information line. He went back and studied law, and then he became a barrister because he wants to profess in disability law for Gavin. And now he's head of law and policy within AsIAM. And so together we founded the AsIAM 5K run, a massive success. We thought we'd only have 200 or 300 people, 1,100 families turned up, so you can imagine the level of connection.
Yes.
The level of conversation, families just standing there going, you know, we're not alone,
yes.
We're okay.
You're a sea of people that are experiencing some of the same experiences uniquely to them, but some of the same experiences. Like, I'm not an
alone.
island.
It's always been about that for me,
Yeah.
creating situations and events where people don't feel alone, because that's, for me, one of the biggest issues in the autism community. When you feel alone, it's so isolating, you know, and it's hard work. And, you know, I wouldn't change Gavin for the world. Absolutely not. He's like amazing human being. But would I take his autism from him? Absolutely I would. And I'll never apologise for that. It's a hard road for him, you know.
Yeah.
And however difficult it is for me, I always try to remember how incredibly difficult it is for him. Mick to say to me, Kieran, none of us would last 5 minutes inside Gavin's head.
Yes.
Inside Gavin's world. Can't speak. Imagine not being able to speak.
The frustration of that
Yeah.
as well.
And one of the things I found really difficult was communicating with Gavin myself, and it wasn't until my two kids, Orla and Dara, in the back of the car, and we'd be driving home from school, and I'd say, well, Orla, how did you get on? And she'd tell you, how did you get on, Dara? And I thought one day, Jesus.
Gavin's never going to tell me that.
No, but imagine how Gavin would feel if he spent the rest of his life in a car where nobody bothered asking because he couldn't tell us. I thought, oh my God, just because he can't speak or doesn't have the same vocabulary as his peers doesn't mean he has nothing to say or he doesn't understand. So I was saying, how was your day, Gavin? How did you get on today? And I'd be like, I saw him in the schoolyard and he was doing this and he was doing that. Weren't you, Gavin? You know? So that kind of created that space. And then I thought to myself, oh my God, if I could go back in time, that was the not the only, but the biggest mistake I ever made. And kind of to jump forward a bit, after I just want to, just around that space of speaking to pre and non-speaking children as parents. After finding the 5K run, I'll tell you, we found 2 other events, but after finding the 2 other events, I'll tell you in a minute, I said to Mick, I'd love to open an autism support hub for parents, somewhere they could come and we could say to them, you're okay, listen, look at us, we're surviving. We'll give you the tips, we'll give you the strategies that we know. We can help you with this. Like I could do good emails. I kind
help with forms and stuff.
I was particularly interested in special education. And we opened it. So anyway, Mick was like, no, Ciara, don't, please. He said, you know, balls, parachute jumps, 5K runs. We've 3 babies who are wrecked. No. Yeah. And
you done it anyway.
I did do it, but in the meantime, after we found the Autism 5K run, COVID hit.
Okay.
And we had 1,000 jerseys and medals ordered. I was after going to a friend of mine initially, who was the chair of the Dublin Frontrunners Dermot, and I said, me and Michael are thinking of having a run, will you give us a hand? And sure, he became the race director. He was amazing. He came in behind us and we were on a Zoom. And Mike was like, what are we going to do with 1,000 jerseys and medals? Like, nobody's allowed out. No. I said, look, let's have a virtual run all around Ireland during COVID. And we did. And it was amazing. It gave people purpose because they were kind of training for it. They were waiting for their jersey to come in. Some did it on the path, some did it on the beach, some did it up the mountains. But it gave so many people in our community a sense of purpose through a very frightening time. That was fantastic. And then my mum had gone into a nursing home then. And I remember going around to see her on Mother's Day, and it was the 22nd of March 2020, and we were only allowed through the glass. And it was Mother's Day. But she was all right. She was doing okay. Everything was grand. And then 2 weeks later, the call came. And they said, Ciara, don't want to frighten you, but your mum has tested positive for COVID. She's absolutely grand. She's no temperature. She's she's okay. So kind of, I don't know, just, ringing every day. And what was really frustrating is at that time they had deployed staff into all of the nursing homes. So when you were ringing, usually go, hey, it's Ciara, how's Margaret today? They go, hang on a minute. And it was Margaret, sorry, could you give me your name? What's her surname? And I was like, what? Jeez, you don't even know her, but that's the way it was.
Yes,
So I'd ring every day and, around. And then I'd knock around and drop in stuff for her, even though she probably didn't use, toiletries and just anything to knock on the door, know. And then one of the days I was there, they said, your mum's hair has actually gone really long. I said, I'll run around and get her hairband. I'll be back in a minute. So I ran around the chemist and got one of the soft makeup and I said, she'd hate her fringe on her forehead. Give that in to her. And the nurse director was there and she said to me, Ciara, and I said, I'm begging you. I am begging you, don't let her die alone. I have to be with her when she dies, if she dies. She says, we're not at that stage yet, Ciara. She's all right. She's holding her own. I said, I can't. That would be the end of me. And a few more days passed, so I used to go around, write her a letter, knock at the door. Will you read that to me, Mum? Just so she knows that I'm still here. I'm under the window. I'm not gone. She's not alone. Because they had to move them all into one wing. So she wasn't even in the familiarity of her own lovely room and all, you know. And I dropped another letter in then, say another day. I was always around there. And I was only home. And the phone rang and it was Paula. And she said to Ciara, do you want to come in and read that letter to your mum yourself? I was like, what? I can get in? Hey, really? I said, Mick, I'm going. I goes, I'm allowed to read the letter to my mum myself. He said, right. So I flew around. In I went, but sure, look, the minute the doors opened, it was like a different world. The last time I'd been in a nursing home, you go in, you sign in, you see your ma, you say hello to everybody. Straight away I was putting the suit, the zip up, the hood up, the mask on. They brought me up, the owner of the nursing home, the son was there, Connor, and he said to me, look here, he said, and I still not realising.
Yeah.
Because no one had said she was dying.
Yeah.
No one had said she was very sick. They said she was holding her own, you know, everything was. And he goes, look, he said, Ciara, to be honest with you, he said, we never taught Mags. He said, she's one of the strongest. And I said, yeah. And he goes, look at Ciara, he said, in all the years, he said, we've had this nursing home. He said, I just want you to know, he said, that you are definitely one of the best daughters we have ever seen. And I wouldn't have having a good relationship with him because I was always giving out. You know? And always nothing was ever good enough for her, you know. And I said to him, you know, I'm sorry, I didn't always get it right, Connor. He said, but Ciara, we didn't always get it right. I said, I just never thought anyone could look after her like me. He said, but sure, we couldn't. We can only do our best. But he said, I want you to know you did your absolute best. I thought, oh my God, I really needed to feel it. You hear that? And when I walked in, oh my God, I'll never forget it. She was like, it was horrific. There was none of her left. And she just opened her eyes, big smile, and gone. And that was on a Thursday. And I went back on the Friday, stayed even longer on the Friday. I wasn't feeling great myself. And I was coming home. And, you know, nobody really knew that much. So Mick could go down the side entrance, don't come through the house.
Yeah.
And then I'd take all my clothes off, put them in the bin, the pennies, earrings in the bin. Yeah. And even running through the house, Mick go, don't run. Because they said it flies off you when you run. So go slow. And then I'd go up into the shower and get into the bed. And then Saturday, I remember make all our music and making the music and bringing. They let me into the nursery home. They're like, Ciara, don't be out in the corridors, in our room. And you stayed in our room. But what was really funny on the Saturday, they said to me, Ciara, here's your dinner. They gave me dinner and all, right? And it was pork. And I started laughing. And I was like, Ma, are you for real? So I went around one Sunday. I was so hungover, but they rang me to say she wasn't feeling great, so I flew around. She said to me, you have that dinner. And it was delicious. It was roast pork, and I could, you know, when you're hungover. Yeah. And I said, no, I'm not eating your dinner. Have it. I said, no, Ma, I can't. And I was dying for it. And she says to me,
she knew you were.
Eat it.
Hanging.
Eat it, yeah. And I said, I'll tell you what, I'll get you 2 jelly and ice creams because she loved it. So I milled it in and it was delicious and that was grand. But a couple of weeks later I went in after work and I went down and I was a little bit late, so she was already gone into the dining room. And she said, oh, hi Ciara, your mum's dinner's here. Would you like to carry it in? I said, yeah. She said, 1 second. Next of all, she put all these tablets into a machine and crushed them. And then put them into a bag. And sprinkled them over my ma's dinner. I said, do you always put my ma's medication on her dinner? Oh yes, she said, always. I had all my ma's medication on that roast dinner. Everything.
And it made it even nicer.
So when I had the roast pork sitting there beside her, I was laughing, and all the girls, like, they were only going home to hotel rooms. Yeah. So they were coming in to me at night rather than going home and sitting in a hotel room. Yeah. And we were chatting around the bed, around my ma's bed, and where the crack was great, you know, telling them about the dinner and everything. And then Sunday and Monday, and then I rang Mick and I said, look, I'm not coming home. And I had Sunshine Radio on for, because they gave me a bed. And, you know, and the suit.
Yeah.
And then it was the Wednesday morning, actually, and then the girl woke me up and she said, Ciara, it's time. I was sweating. absolutely sweating. I remember jumping up, and your heart is sick. And I just sipped it down, pulled it off me. I didn't care at that stage, and then that was it. She died in my arms. It was after that then I said to Mick, if I can do that, my biggest fear in life was losing my ma. Yeah. There was nothing else. That was my biggest fear. And I got through it and held her, and I stayed with her for 6 hours after it. I said, I can open that Autism Hub. I'm going to do it. And I did it.
It's very evident from the way you talk and the passion that comes from you that you can do anything, that you are an incredible person. And if you put your mind to something, that you'll do it. And you can see, as you talk about your mum and your dad, where as I said before, where that strength comes from. But like, looking at you and feeling you and being present with you, there's absolutely no doubt that if you said, I'm going to pull the stars down out the sky next Thursday,
like, okay,
that would happen.
That's what Ciara's doing.
Yeah. So we opened up the hub, and it's 7 years now.
Well done.
Myself and Caroline run it every Thursday morning. We're now a recognised service in the area. We work with all the school home liaison officers. We needed a premises. I got in touch with a girl who'd got in touch with me for help for a family, and they're in the Family Resource Centre in Coolmine for drugs and alcohol. Yeah. And I said, would you have a room? So they gave us the most gorgeous room. So every Thursday morning we have parents come in, lost, absolutely destroyed, or they might be just looking for help. We do all their DCA forms, incapacitated child tax forms, carers forms, applications to schools, getting in touch with the CNOs for them, helping them fight for school places, or indeed a hug and a kiss and emotional support. Caroline has particular brilliant experience in ADHD, ADD, and unfortunately in mental health crisis and suicide. And so she brings all of that to the table. Me on the other side, particular interest in special education, and I do all the forms. So together we have created this immense support within our community. It's free of charge, it's all voluntary. We have a gorgeous room, and I've just opened a second one in Dublin 12 looking after the south side of Dublin. It's a huge success. And school liaison officers, like I said, local TD offices, everyone sends the parents to us, and we help them all.
Excellent.
So that's the hub, and then the other two are the Jump for Autism, and of course the amazing Sparkle for Autism Ball.
Tell everybody about the Sparkle for Autism Ball.
So I was in work and I said to my friend Jane, she said, love a ball. She's like, do you want a ball? And I was like, yeah, Asha, we'll have a ball, come on, we'll make it happen. And I was in Aer at the time, so I had lots of people with Christmas party time and credit cards, and sure it was booked out before we knew it. And the first one, I went down to my local jeweller and I said to Barry, if I gave you a table at me ball worth €1,200, would you give me a diamond? And he said, what? I said, you can bring your staff out for Christmas and you give me a diamond for the raffle. But she gave me a diamond over 3,500. And I rang a fella who had safes. I don't even know who he is now. And I said to him, you wouldn't give us the safe for the night, but I need 100 keys. And he was like, 100 keys? I was like, yeah, would you be able to cut me 100 keys, but only one can open it? And he did. And the person where he sold all the keys and had the Sparkle for Autism ribbon around them, sitting at my desk and work saw and timed them all. So one key opened and they won the diamond, and it just kind of grew traction. Did it every second year then after COVID I started doing it every year. And then I won the GOS Awards, so the GOS.ie Awards, and the sponsor of our category was a Hasker distillery, and my friend Olivia was with me. She says, I wonder would she give us a few bottles for the goodie bags. I started doing goodie bags because this night is a room, oh my God, I cannot explain the love that's in that room. It's so immense. Like, we have parents in that room that never go out. They're full-time carers. They've lost who they are. And don't forget, when you become a full-time carer, you very quickly forget what it's like to be a mammy.
Yes.
Because you fall into that caring role, and mammies, we tell them all the time when they come to our hub, they're entitled to be mammies too. When you're filling out a DCA form, no, it's grand. Does he or doesn't he? Does he or does she or doesn't she? Does she? Do you get up 3 times a night? You do? Yeah. Well, then it's a yes. But because they're so used to it, they don't feel it warrants a yes because they're carers. And you take them back into mammy mode. Now, leave the carer aside, let's do this.
And so, even beyond mammy mode, it's hard for people to remember that they're an individual person who has wants and needs as an individual. And that 5 minutes away or that hour away or the night of the ball.
Yeah, they're in a ball gown, the husband's in a tux. They mightn't have been out maybe their wedding day,
Yeah.
but they're looking at each other again and they're kind of going, God, you're nice, love you, we still love each other, we're all right. Look at everyone in this room, and Jason, we won in the raffle, and you know, everything seems okay because again, they know they're not alone. So this night and so we asked the fabulous Michelle from a Haskell distillery, and she said I'd be more than happy to help. So out came the gin, out came the whiskey. So I had that. Then I got in touch with other makeup companies, and they gave me bits and pieces. And next of all, we had a goodie bag. It was absolutely magnificent, and we gave it out. So then the goodie bags grew. Connor and Grafton Barbers looks after all the men every year. Lovely little bags and gels and a car air fresheners, and we put the bottle of whiskey into it for the men. And then Michelle said to me, Ciara, after the first year or two, she said to me, Ciara, would you like me to sponsor your event? I was like, excuse me? I absolutely would. And Peugeot had sponsored me the previous year. Then she sponsored me. Then Suzanne Kane became my MC.
Okay.
And she was incredible. And then Suzanne couldn't do it last year. So Nora Casey was my host before, my MC over that, and she did MC again for me. And last year I asked Rory from Rory Stories.
Rory from Rory Stories, brilliant.
He was electric.
I'd say so, yeah.
Yeah, and I
like
always
him,
had I grew. It kind of grew. And then I had an after. My friend, a girl contacted me during COVID looking for help. Twitter. She won't mind me saying this, but I was like, oh, River dances on her bio. I wonder if I helped her now, would that be good for me ball?
Yeah.
And Riverdance performed at me ball.
Excellent. Well done.
And I said to her in passing, will they do that next year for me? She's like, yeah. But she was drunk. So when I asked her where Riverdance was the next year, she said to me, Ciara, they're in Japan. They won't be at your ball. I was like, what? So anyway, Dancing with the Stars performed that year. Brilliant. Because Éabha was involved in TV and she got them for me. Then I had Ciara Dignam the next year. And last year, the act let me down at the last minute, and I was going around putting the place cards around the room. And here's the girls, why are you panicking? It's such an amazing night. Nobody is going to know that the act after dinner before. And I was like, no, I know. I'm a perfectionist. No, I want it. So I was putting the names out, and Olivia, my saviour, rang me and she goes to me, come here, Tommy Sachs is playing at the ball tonight. He'll be down at such and such a time. Go down and get so much money out of the bank. We need to pay him. I was like, yeah, okay, no bother. It's sorted. Sure, Tommy Sachs came in after the dinner and the place was on wheels. It was amazing. Brilliant. We had Rory O'Connor. We have the most incredible auction. You wouldn't believe what we have for the auction. We have sensory rooms worth thousands. 5-star luxury holidays in Martin Hall in Portugal. We 10 B&Bs. Katie Taylor signs our gloves for me every year. Brilliant. So it was just, it's grown and grown. Yeah, so this year we're on 14th of November. And I will say, absolutely, I contacted Rosie Conley from Fourth Arc, and oh my God, when I tell you, the kindest soul answers the emails herself, comes back to you straight away.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah, and she was giving us 20% off, and last year she gave us €25 off every Fourth Arc. Sure, everyone from the ball was in Ireland 2 weeks later at the pop-up day, and so they love getting the goodie bags. And then I've Stephen from Snap Printing in Charlem Street, he's after personalising a candle for me every year for the goodie bags. Kildare Village give me, so loads of people come in. Now look, it's hard work. I've run out of kind of asks now at the minute, so I'm kind of on the keyboard begging every night, begging.
More people need to sponsor. Give.
I only want the goodie bags for the mammies. I just want them to feel when they go home the next day, they have a bit of lippy, they have a lovely mascara, they have a gorgeous candle that'll remind them that they're not on their own when they light it every day. And a new Fourth Arc, thanks to Rosie. Yeah, so it's building and building. But I suppose for me, the biggest thing this year is I promised to everyone last year that I hoped and that I would be announcing this year that I have reached €500,000 in fundraising.
So where are you?
I'm at 397. Okay. The parachute jump money is slowly coming in. What I get off the ball every year will definitely take me up to 450. And I am in talks with 2 sponsors who I truly believe will get me over the €500,000 mark. I'm in deep conversations with them at the minute.
I've no doubt you will.
And if anybody wants to make a contribution or knows a company that can make a contribution right now, how do they get in contact with you, Ciara?
So I'm on Instagram, Ciara Jones, reaching out to autism.
Yeah.
That's my page. And there's no problem. They don't have to send the money to me, because all the money for the ball obviously comes through me, and then I send it on to AsIAm. But because AsIAM are a charity, they can just donate to AsIAM, but obviously use my name as reference because I need to get over the line. But so that's where we are in terms of the ball, the run. The run is now an AsIAM event because it's much, much bigger. Michael still organises it. Brilliant. But I'm not involved. So they're the 3 major events every year. Yeah, I just feel, Gavin has us exactly where he needs us to be.
And how's Gavin?
Gavin is great. Probably, I would have to say, hands down, one of the most magnificent people I have ever had the honour to be with. He has taken me to places in my head that I never thought I was going to come back from. Never mind, come back stronger. His day starts about 3 o'clock in the morning.
So your day starts at 3 in the morning as well?
Coat on, door, wall. He loves his wall outside, and he'll have his scissors, and he goes through an average of maybe 5 to 20 shower gels a day. So he'll get a couple in the morning, and then he'll have a shower with them, and then he'll get dressed himself, no bother to him, and he'll cut up the bottles out on the wall, and then he will deliver them all to the bins on the road. Everyone gets one. They're all fantastic, nice. They all look out for him. He sets all their Ring doorbells off, and they look and they go, it's Gavin. So that can go on all day. Okay. And then he's outside stimming up and down, up and down, up and down. I'm lucky enough to live in a cul-de-sac. Now, I know you might go, God, Jeannie, that's a lot. But I never thought that Gavin would be able to be independently outside in the garden. And he is. Mm. And he's so skillful cutting up those bottles, and it means so much to him. Yeah. And so obviously you can't let him out at 3 o'clock in the morning. Then closer to 7 or 8, I must say, Gavin, out the back. You can go up to the back table, because we have the garden. And he'd say, table, shed. But the other day he was so clever. He went to the shed and got a screwdriver, and he was down the door going, Handy Manny, because you remember Handy Manny on his tools? Because Mick, when you put the lock in, Mick lives in his now, he's afraid of his life, and it happened to him. I'd be giving him a little bit more freedom because we got, but Mick had a screw, so we couldn't get it back, but he got it back, and he got it open. Here's me, oh no, that's that gone. Now we'll have to find another way, to protect him. So it is, of course, it's difficult because and then he's like, wakey, wakey, everybody, and he's pulling the clothes back off you, mammy.
Is that 3 in the morning?
Yeah, for her. And then
does he wake the other two, the brother and sister?
So Orla and Dara are incredible. So they're young carers. Yeah. And tremendous advocates. And they have such a tough road ahead of them. And there's an immense amount of guilt that goes with that, because I've put that on them. Because they are going to have to look after Gavin when I'm gone. And they're I worry all the time. If Orla meets a husband and then Dara is left, or if she meets a husband, she go, well, I'll stay here and mind him with my kids. Where does Dara go? So I said to Mick, you'll have to build something down the back of that garden with a kitchen and a bedroom and a bathroom, so none of them are homeless, whoever looks after Gavin. Then, they're so good, but then you're always dependent on who they meet. What if she doesn't meet a fella that'll accept Gavin, but she loves him? Yeah. What if Dara meets a girl that finds it difficult to mind Gavin? And then you're panicking, you're trying to save a few bob so he'll never be a hindrance in terms of financial hindrance on them. Yeah. So you're trying to put a few bob away to save for him. So you go, look, you'll always be able to take him on holidays with you. Please don't ever leave him behind. You'll always have enough money for his clothes, because I have that there as well. He'll have his few bob disability every week, so you'll be able to feed him. Do you know what I mean? So there's all that worry. And then the other thing is, Gavin is a fine big boy. And I suppose it's hard to explain, but parents of autistic children will be able to understand the strength. There is no way of explaining it. So if Gavin has a difficult day now, and he can vocally stim quite loud, people stare, and and people are very kind. We would I can't even count on one hand any bad experiences we've had. We've been incredibly lucky. like when he was a little boy, that was acceptable. He was blonde, blue eye, God love him, you know. Not now. So they've all that to deal with as well, you know, and he's so strong, and I don't know what next year is going to bring. Gavin is very unpredictable at the minute, you know, because if Gavin, like, I'll give you an idea. So we went to school just before the breakup, and we were coming down the back roads of Dunboyne Country Road, and we pulled into school, and I, you know, when you know your child inside out and upside down, I went to the went to the boot to get the school bag, gave Orla and Dara a kiss. They went across the primary. I just knew when he got out of that car, he wasn't looking in the direction of school. So he started running, and I had flip-flops on. Oh, thank God I hadn't got pyjamas on. And I did dress myself that morning. And thank God it wasn't Mick Jones that brought him to school. He'd having a stroke. Because usually, like, he's infatuated with bins, so sometimes he goes into the community centre and pulls all their bins into the classroom with him. But this morning he ran across the community centre, across the main road, and 20 minutes up the country road, and I ran and I'd no phone, and I was thinking, when is he going to stop?
Yeah, of course.
Is he going to run? Is he after seeing something on the way in?
Yeah.
So he was running, and he can run.
Yeah.
And we were running into oncoming traffic on a country road.
Jesus.
And we went past the school, past the library, past everything, and I was like, past the GAA club. There was nothing in there for him. I was like, oh my God, mommy. And then I thought, there's a recycling centre.
That's where he was going.
In we went. Pillow. Coming down the road, he'd seen a pillow hanging out at the clothes bank. Okay. And I was like, you can't touch that filthy pillow. And there was a man putting his wine bottles in, you know. And I was like, don't touch it. And he lost it. He went mentally, and that's all right. I was like, yeah, I'm not touching it, Gavin. And I was pushing the pillow in, like I knew he couldn't get it. Yeah. And he was so upset. But like that.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you remember Special Agent Ozo. So that was his favourite cartoon as a baby, and he's an agent. Yeah, so Gavin just goes Special Agent Ozo into a watch that's not even on his wrist. And here he was. It was all part of the plan. I said, I know it was part of your plan, but I can't let you take a dirty pillow. And he just turned around, and we walked all the way back to school. He went in and did Trojan work.
Brilliant.
But it's so unpredictable, you know, and the kids are
and does he get fixated on stuff? Yeah.
And like the other night we pulled into the drive, and he was like, basketball. I was like, oh no. I saw the kids coming in playing with a basketball, and he took a fit of running, and he went down and he took the ball, and I'm like, a girl I know came running out, and she goes, Ciara, I have another ball, just let him take that ball. I have another ball. So she gave the kids the ball, and I said, I'll be back to use with the ball, but he loves to colour in. Right. So we went to Nathan Carter last year. Right. So my mum, my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, my other two children, and my sister-in-law's children, they all had to leave because, you know, the rings that you throw on the games? Yeah. So he collected all of them in pink, and he decided he was going to colour them in. So 2 hours later, all Dublin City Council were closing down, and Gavin was still colouring with a pen, and I couldn't get him out. So, and this is what life is. Yeah. So when I go out, I actually don't focus on anybody, because I just need to focus on Gavin. Yeah. I don't care what anyone else is saying, what anyone else is doing. I can't, because if I do, I can't help Gavin. Yeah. So yeah, sometimes he sleeps. Last night he slept down in the sitting room. He loves bringing his mattress down and sleeping in the sitting room. He can spend hours loading up the car with his teddies and every cushion in the house. So it's like he's being diagnosed with OCD. Right. So he brings them all out, drops them in the car a certain way, then we go for a drive every single night, and then he comes back in and he puts all them back perfectly in the way that he found them, and every teddy back in the spot. And yeah, that can be like a 2 or 3 hour process. So when you're going out anywhere now, we are doing great. In the last 4 weeks there's been nothing in the car, so we can actually, so if we had to be somewhere for 2, I'd have to let him out the hall door at 9:30, let him load up the car, bring him for a drive, let him unload the car again, maybe give him shower gels to have a shower, and then we'd be ready to go too. Okay, yeah. God, it's a lot. A lot. It is a lot. Oh, it's not a lot for you because it's love. We don't have a choice. Yeah, yeah. That's the only way I can get to A to B. Yeah. And like, Orla, they're at the ages now where they're all going in different directions. Yeah. Orla's in her dancing, she's in majorettes. Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday over in Dublin. All she wants is a flat. Yeah. That's all she wants. is a flat. She
How old
loves
is she?
11. I hate this house. I wish we had a flat. Because all our friends are over in Marble Lane and Pimlico.
Yeah.
That's where her buddies are. That's where her life is.
Yeah.
That's where she goes to her parties. She loves it. And Dara is a fisherman. So he's 12 and sure, he wants to be going fishing.
Yeah.
Which means Mick can't go to work the day he goes fishing. And he's like, she goes where she wants. I'm like, well, we can drop poor Dara and pick her up at fishing. Like, he's gone fishing since 9 o'clock this morning. Mick won't go home till 10. But then Mick's a taximan, so he's not earning money when he's bringing him fishing.
Yeah.
And then I've no car as a base for Gavin in the driveway. So it's all, you know yourself.
Yeah.
So we're 8, I think, what are we, the 13 weeks holidays off school for Gavin. No support, no help, nothing. And so we've about 5 weeks left. So we're getting there.
What's it been like for you and Mick as parents and as a couple?
Yeah.
And you've talked about, like, you know, other people, it might be the first time they see each other in a dress or in a suit, but like being in the thick of it together, what's that been like for you?
We are an incredible team.
You sound it.
But, like, we live in a pressure pot.
Yeah.
We never know what's going to happen next. Sleep deprivation. Trying to manage Orla and Dara. Like, if they're having a row, you know, you're giving out to them, but Gavin can't stand noise. But that brings its own issues as well. And when Gavin was a baby, like, we would have struggled definitely financially, because Mick was trying to run the taxi at night, mind the 3 children during the day. I was gone having a career. Then I came out and then I wasn't working, and then Mick was doing all the working. Gavin wasn't sleeping with 2 young babies. But I don't know, Gavin just pulls you through everything. He's just our purpose in life. He's everything we do is for him. We don't really have much choice but to get on with it and to get through it. But Mick's a doer.
Okay.
And he doesn't even know what it is to sit down. And I'm interior design mad. So you just say, I'm going to come in this door one of these days and both of those walls are going to meet me because there's so much paint on them. And he's just brilliant with his hands, and I'm a doer. So I think when you live with each other for so long, you know, I think poor Mick sometimes thinks he needs permission to sit down. And, you know, honestly, it's not worth having to listen to me. But, look, we work incredibly well together. He's much quieter than me. He's in the back row of all the events. Very private person. I don't know, Mick does all our cooking, breakfast, brunches, lunches, dinner parties, everything. So he is Gavin's private butler.
Brilliant.
So he feeds us all day, I clean all day. I just say, he's the cook, I'm the scrubber. And I bring Gavin out all the time because Mick, he's too nervous.
Okay.
Like, he come out with me.
Yeah.
But then when I get Gavin out, he goes to work.
Yeah.
Because we have to live, because I'm only on carers now.
Yeah.
My career is gone.
Yeah.
So, but we have a great balance. But it goes back to the same thing. It's the community that we have built around us. Because I can go out on my own. Mick will drop us and he'll pick us up and he's always there, drop of a hat. But like this week now, I'm with the girls from Clondalk, and next week I'm with the girls from Ballyfermot. And what I put out on my Instagram is, nobody needs to be alone. We love the train. We'll jump on the train and we'll come and meet you. And we go to your local playground, not to your home. No problem. You don't need to bring us into your home.
Yeah.
Tell us where to get off the train, the nearest playground, and we'll meet you. And we'll have a cup of tea and you won't feel so alone. So there's these parents get in touch going, Ciara, you coming this way, you coming that way, jumping on the train, meeting them. But again, when you feel, so I have Gavin has given me and Mick the gift of the most incredible friendships. Like, I can't explain it to you. Like, an autism mammy who's already on her knees will be the first to offer you help. Because they get it, they understand it, they know it.
Of course.
So you're never alone, really, once you have our community. You're never without help. You can only rely on each other. Look, we can talk about services until we're blue in the face. They're not there. You know, we have parents that come in and go, you know, I won't be getting speech therapy. They told me for 4 years. And myself and Caroline are looking at each other going, I know, but their parents only starting out and they really do think, like, speech therapy, absolutely fantastic, but if your child is going to talk, they will talk, and then we help them, you know, we go through everything with them. Look at, get your phone, get your picture, your social stories going. You know, it's not about I remember I used to say, why would I get like a picture of the fridge? Gavin knows where the fridge is. It's not about showing Gavin where the fridge is. It's about getting Gavin to identify the fridge so that he can hand you that picture.
Yeah.
And if it fridge, whatever, that he understands that that's what he wants.
Yeah.
It's not that you're showing him, and I used to get mixed up with that earlier on in the days, the PECS books. I said, sure, what's the time in rooting through a PECS book looking for a picture of the fridge? He knows where it is. It's not about that. So I've learned all that, and we can share that with the parents now. Yeah. Listen, it mightn't be the fridge today, it could be something else he needs in school, but at least he'll understand that you get the picture, it's a visual story, you know. Because I just feel, I suppose, I just wish people would stop, especially in education where there is a massive lack of training and support for educators, and as a result then obviously there's a breakdown in school placements. And if people just stopped and realised that just because these children can't speak or can preverbal, it doesn't mean they can't hear what you're saying about them. It doesn't mean that they don't understand what you're saying. And one thing, I am the founder of Chasing Justice, unfortunately. And Chasing Justice is a group for parents whose children have been assaulted in school. And unfortunately we have over 200 families now of autistic children who have been abused in the classroom by teachers and SNAs. And one thing that we find incredibly difficult to accept as a group, in all cases where there is an incident of a child that may lash out or may hit a teacher or an SNA, and the parent gets the incident form, nowhere on that incident form does it question what the adults were doing in the room.
Yes.
The focus is only on the child. Nobody ever says to the adult or questions the adult or the teacher or the SNA, what were you talking about at the time? What were you discussing? What were you doing?
Where were you standing?
Where were you standing?
What way were you looking
at? Yeah. What did you say to them? Nobody ever questions the adult. And we've brought this up over and over and over again, and we know that seclusion is illegal now.
Yeah.
We know since last year that a trial has been put through special schools in Ireland where all restraints must be reported.
Yes.
On the portal. I do have those figures. They're frightening. The figures from December to May is not released yet, and they are twice as frightening. Restraint is still happening. But we also know that seclusion is absolutely still happening. And it's getting worse because maybe it's easier to seclude a child and have to go through the process of recording the restraint, reporting the restraint, will initiate a school inspection. I don't know. I don't know why, but we know that while seclusion is illegal, it's absolutely happening. We had one parent in our hub recently that found her daughter in a room where they had actually covered the windows so she couldn't see out to the schoolyard with the other children playing. We know recently that a child was found in a shed out the back of a school. So this is all still happening, and the one thing we do well in Ireland is abuse. It's ingrained in the spine of our society.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Institutionalised into every person.
Yeah. And unfortunately, Gavin was one of those children. I'm lucky enough to have been strong enough to fight the process and see the process through. Other parents are not. It's not that easy. As I was told in the very early stages of my fight for justice, that the system is designed to break parents, and it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just feel, and Gavin has an incredible school now, incredible teachers, incredible SNAs, and he always had up until that particular point, and since, thankfully. But when we have schools investigating abuse, they're essentially investigating themselves. And parents hold great faith in boards of management, but your boards of management are not fit for purpose to be investigating abuse of anybody, let alone a child or a vulnerable child. They're not equipped with the training. They know, they shouldn't be doing it. The parental complaints process doesn't cover it. So I am absolutely delighted to say that while the children's child protection guidelines went into the schools last September, there was amendments made to further protect vulnerable children based on my own case. So I'm delighted about that. We can, you know, and when we look at the principal of a school, and I have wonderful principals that we deal with all the time, fantastic principals, but the principal's the boss.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a secretary on the board.
Yeah.
They're probably the designated liaison child protection person.
Absolutely, yeah.
They can also be the union rep.
Yeah.
And they're everyone's boss.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, what we have found in every case of all of the families that we work with, in all cases where they reported the alleged abuse to Tusla, including when the principal reports it, they send it back to the school because they say, well, you have all the processes in place to see that through. So you can use the disciplinary, the parental complaints, the board of management. So it's creating all this space, a grey area for principals to do what they want to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
By interpretation of the
and
policies
in our case,
and
where
procedures.
we weren't told.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For a lengthy period of time, even though I knew it happened.
Yeah.
So we're trying to close in on that.
Yeah.
So we're working obviously very closely with TUSA, with the Department of Education, who have been incredible, and the National Parents Council, who I have to say are phenomenal support to parents. So look, at all that's going on in the background, we're working away really closely with all those departments. We've met up with them all, the Ombudsman for Children as well. So look, we'll continue to do that, and we'll continue to fight hard on behalf of parents of vulnerable children in school to make schools safer. We know what's happening, thankfully. It's not in all schools, absolutely not. And the majority are wonderful and kind. But yeah, we do have a very, very serious situation at the moment.
As we finish up, have you any last words of wisdom in any way for people who might need an advocate, or people who are struggling, or people who might be thinking about a diagnosis of autism for themselves, whichever way you want to direct it? What would you say to those people who are listening?
For me, you can't sit around waiting for help. You can't. For yourself or for your child, because it's probably not going to come. The best thing you can do is get up, find your community. There's local groups everywhere. There's autism groups everywhere. You only have to find one mammy, one daddy to connect with. Just immediately, you won't feel alone. You need to find a way that you don't feel alone, that you feel supported, that you feel you belong. And for so many, when we talk about inclusion, we think, you know, inclusion means, you know, we should all have the same. Inclusion doesn't work for every autistic person. Inclusion, for me, is that you feel you belong.
Yeah. Equity and integrity.
Yeah, and when you feel you belong, you have you feel better in yourself.
Yeah.
You
feel like you have a purpose.
Well.
Yeah.
And then, you know, there's so many women out there now. You're saying, do you know what? Actually, we'll get our own group together.
Yeah.
And then, you know, when you're in a room and the difficult days, you have someone to talk to. You have someone who understands. Look, we speak to women in the west of Ireland all the time, who have nothing and nobody out, you know, in rural. The middle of nowhere, rural, nowhere to turn. You know, so. Through myself and Caroline would work with these parents all the time, encouraging them and finding near clubs that you can go to or drive to, making calls, phone calls, built up a lot of connections over the years. So that's the one thing I would say is come forward, find a community, get in touch with me. We'll help you, we'll support you, we'll guide you, we'll empower you. You know, we'll put our arms around you, we'll make sure that you know you're not alone, and we'll help you find the way.
Ciara, thanks very much for sharing your story with us today.
Absolutely amazing. I'd listen to you all day. I really would. You're brilliant. You're brilliant. Yeah. And you're a credit to Gavin, and he's a credit to you.
And not to dismiss any pain that comes with getting to where you are as part of your story today, because it doesn't come easily, and you tipped on it in different points. Yeah. So it's not just about the story of Gavin or the story of autism, but it's about the story of Ciara as a whole person, as we witness her as she sits in front of us. So thank you for being the amazing person that you are and touching on the amazing lives of other people that are out there. You are really a phenomenal person, and I believe that your story will genuinely empower people to get the help that they need, and that ripple effect of love I think in your case it's love and it's support and it's everything that you need is all wrapped up in warmth and a hug and love and empowerment, and that's what we need more of in the world.
I think you just need somebody kind of to look up to, don't you? Someone to...
Or to look across at.
And for me, I think before I go, just the one thing I didn't mention was I think for parents to look at, for me, my, I suppose, inspiration through all of my journey was Adam Harris.
Yeah.
He was an 18-year-old autistic man with a dream.
Yes.
That every autistic person would be respected and valued in society.
As they should be.
And he has created this vision that all the employees, over half of which are autistic, work every single day to make sure his vision comes true through their work. And so when you have someone like Adam and you have someone like AsIAm, you are never alone.
Never alone. Thank you very much. My name is Leanne.
My name is Orla.
And together we are
How's Your Ma?